What's up everybody, Bastamouth here, bringing you another Halo Infinite video. Today we are going over Halo Infinite settings. Remember to like and subscribe if you learn anything new or enjoyed the video today. Also join the Discord server, link is in the description. We have a lot of fun playing Halo Infinite together. Doesn't matter what rank you are, doesn't matter where you're at skill-wise, come join and have a blast with us. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the video. So I get asked a lot, I've been getting asked since I posted my first Halo video, what settings do I use? And I feel like I get asked this for a couple of reasons. First, I mean, some of the quality of recording in my clips isn't so great, but my game actually does look like the color scheme is altered, and I'll get into how I did that, and like it's very slightly altered, but you can alter it drastically if you want to, and kind of gives my game a little more pop visually. But I also feel like some players don't know that I'm not on controller, and they see me do like a 180 snap, and they're like, yo, what settings do you use? Because they don't see that I'm not on controller, because my settings aren't that crazy. Like, they're, if anything, they're they're subpar, but they are my settings, and they are what I use, they are what I'm comfortable with, and that's what we are going over today. But first, let's get into the more like visually exciting stuff, because I know like that's more interesting than, you know, mouse sensitivity and all that. So I am a AMD user. I have an AMD Radeon 5700 XT, and the AMD driver comes with this feature where you can press Alt and R together, and it'll bring up this. So you're going to want to go over to gaming, and then you'll see the game that you're playing if you're in game, and you'll see tune game performance, and these settings should come up. So Radeon Anti-Lag, you're going to want to keep that off. It actually increases your lag and will make your game crash, so don't use that. Definitely don't use Radeon Chill, limits FPS to save power. You do not want to limit your FPS at all. Do not turn that on. Radeon image sharpening, this can be useful sometimes, but it's mostly if you're playing an older game and just the resolution isn't up to par. Like Halo resolution, you can crank that up, like in the in-game settings. Like, you don't need this. If anything, it's just gonna cause a little bit more frame rate issues. And then Radeon Enhanced Sync, this is what I use instead of VSync in game. I turn off VSync in game and I use this because it works a lot better in my opinion, and it doesn't increase your latency, which the in-game VSync does. So AMD FreeSync, I have that AMD optimized, scaling mode, global setting default, nothing crazy, integer scaling disabled. It's just useless for in this context. Affinity disabled. Okay, here we get to the cool stuff. So custom color, you're gonna have to enable that to kind of get these options here. Color temperature control. So I have my color temperature turned up. So the higher you turn your color temperature, the colder it's going to be. If you know, like from basic image editing, like warmth versus cool, like more blue versus more red. Halo is a very like cold game color wise. It's not very warm, and I like to kind of play on that and kind of increase that, but I kind of offset, you know, so it's not, you know, like what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know. So it's not like super dim, you know what I mean? So it's not like super, you know, dim and gloomy. And for that, I turned the brightness up a little bit. It was at 0, I turned it up to 5. Hue is just basically like how bright, not how bright, that's contrast and saturation, and like it's really hard to describe, but essentially just makes your colors pop more, man. That's all you need to know. Makes your colors pop. All right, I turned that stuff up to 10. Also remember, like these hue, contrast, saturation, like while they, like, you know, they do a lot to look cool, be careful with them. If you turn them all the way up, they can break some of the textures on some of the maps. So be easy on the scales. Don't crank them all the way up. Contrast 150, saturation 150. This again just kind of makes the colors pop a little more. And then display color enhancement, global, color deficiency correction, global. And now let's get into the actual in-game settings that I use. Yep, and we're here on Aquarius, so you can kind of see the brightness. My recording software is not configured properly because I am lazy and I haven't done it yet. So I am sorry. I need to figure out how to do that properly. Go to settings. So for movement and aiming, obviously, I don't know who these settings are for. Invert, I don't know why these exist. They are all off. I'd use hold to crouch. I know this is not a popular one, but I use this. In my opinion, it helps me do a crouch spam a little bit easier. If you want to check my broken movement mechanics video, that kind of touches on that. I have hold to zoom off because I don't want to hold my two buttons at the same time to shoot. If I'm, zooming in, hold the sprint, I have that off, again, just for, ease. Maintain sprint, I have that on. Auto clamber, I actually have that on. I switch between on and off for this. This is very, recently I've had it on. I don't really know where I want to be yet with that. I like both for different reasons, but again, all settings are personal preference. I don't even know why people want to know, really, other people's settings. I mean, it makes more sense for controller, too. Step jump. I don't know what this means. Set whether to reduce jump height when jumping onto low ledges. I'm going to turn that off, actually. We're going to... I know my settings, trust me. All right. Movement assisted steering. Okay, yeah, that's good. We're going to keep that on, mouse sensitivity 0.8, 400. I have 400 DPI on my mouse. Again, this is all personal preference. I am of the belief that a lower sensitivity makes it way easier to aim. So the value of a lower sensitivity is way better for accuracy, especially when you're going up against the aim assist that Halo has. The basic rule I have for sensitivity is one distance from one side of your mouse pad to the other with your mouse should be a 180 turn. So if you find yourself, you're like on a super high sensitivity and you can't aim that well, it's probably because you're aiming like, here, I'll show you. You're aiming like with your wrist, like when you look around, you aim with your wrist. If you want to lower your sensitivity and have better accuracy, you want to, like, if you are my mouse pad, like, you want to aim with your arm. You see, like, big swiping motions. Like, even everyone aims with their wrist sometimes, a bad habit. What that does is it kind of, you don't have as much range of motion, so you have to have a higher sensitivity, which leads to more inaccuracy. And as you can see, this motion has a lot more curve to it. So if you're like trying to aim, somebody's head is directly like in line with your crosshair, but to the left or the right. If you aim left, right, or right on your screen, it's going to also, that curvature is going to be picked up by your crosshair, and you're going to be way more inaccurate. Rather than if you used your arm and just, up, down, and you can be way more precise with where you want your mouse to go and how much room you have to work with. Right, so that's basic mouse sensitivity, and then I have both these set to 1. Zoom sensitivity I have set to 1, 1.4. Mouse acceleration, you're gonna want to turn this off. It creates so much inaccuracy. You want your sensitivity, right? The reason why I don't use mouse acceleration is the key to good aim on PC is consistency, and it's impossible to develop consistency if your sensitivity keeps dynamically changing. Because mouse acceleration just adjusts your mouse sensitivity according to the speed that you're moving your mouse. And that's not good, because if you want super precise aim, you need your mouse sensitivity to be the same all the time. Or at least in my opinion, that is what makes it way easier for me. And you have basic controls. You can just pause at any point, look at these. Nothing too crazy here. The only thing really worth mentioning is throw grenade, which is my mouse button, like right on the side here. Yeah, that's so I can throw grenades at any point in the gunfight, no matter what I'm doing otherwise on my keyboard. My thumb is always like, see, right here on my mouse. Scroll down a little bit. Nothing. Yep. Or again, just pause if you care about any of this. I don't. It shouldn't matter that much. This is like the most personal preference part of this. Go over the video. So field of view, I keep trying to get it. For some reason, it'll only do 109 or 111 for me. But I don't max this out. And the reason for that is it makes character models smaller, right? like on your screen visually, the higher field of view you have, the smaller the enemy character models are going to be, and therefore it's going to be a little bit, harder to be accurate. But a high FOV is very good for, having a broader view of everything, and that's, good for information. So I keep it at I try to keep it at 110, but the game only lets me keep it at 109 and 111. Borderless full screen, you can, if you have like a super beefy card, you can mess with the scaling. I mess with it sometimes if I'm not recording or streaming. It's just super taxing on your hardware. Minimum frame rate off. I use their maximum frame rate. When I try to use a custom one for some reason, my game crashes a lot. VSync off, but remember, we use the Radeon VSync. I'm usually not a fan of in-game VSync settings. I keep this one off. Limit inactive frame rate off. I have all my quality presets to high. And again, if you're struggling, like if you're looking for a settings video because you're struggling with in-game performance, well, we'll go over. You're just gonna want to turn these down until your game starts working better. Honestly, like you can go for it like for days. Like yes, lighting and shadow quality have more of an effect on your FPS than depth of field. And reflection has more of a effect on your FPS than geometry, but ambient occlusion is pretty much it's all personal preference, guys. Mess around with it until you get something that you like. I like to have all my settings on high, except for this I put on medium because I don't know. I don't know why I put this on medium, but it's on medium. And, yeah, so, I try to keep everything as high as possible. Obviously, blur, screen shake, but turn all of this off, man. This is going to do nothing but create inconsistency. Full screen effects, I do have that at 50% because I do like to see when I'm, like, my shields are recharging and stuff. And, speed lines off because they're useless. And I have sharpening at, 75% because it just adds a nice little touch to the graphics that I like. Nice little crispness to the edges. We're going over to audio. I'm a sinner, I know. Don't look at that. Dynamic mode, visibility on, size medium, background opacity 0.7, highlight speaker, my microphone, incoming voice chat volume. I don't know why anyone would need these settings. But we're going through them anyway. I don't mess with any of the UI stuff. I always find that if I change that stuff around, someone always has a skin that matches that color, and I get confused. Markers and you can have show enemy names on if you want. I don't. It might help a little bit with like detecting people. UI visual effects, I have all of these on. You can turn bloom off sometimes if it helps you, like if you're aware of bloom. This can help like just visually be calming, but I recommend keeping it on just so you're aware of the bloom that your weapon has. I don't know what this is, but I have it applied to my HUD and parallax. Again, I didn't watch, pro PC settings, how to top 10 settings to change in YouTube 2021. Okay. Like these are just my settings. All right. I don't know stuff. And we're going to accessibility, visual language system default. I don't know what any of this stuff means. Don't know. If you want to change it to mine, just pause the video and change it. Again, turn this stuff off. You don't want any of this stuff. Yeah, so that's going to be all for today, folks. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video or learned anything new. Catch you guys in the next one.